Hello, this is Jarad with Bear Bull Traders. This is my July 6th, 2020 trade recap. And in this recap, I wanted to show some of the work that I do in the pre-market session to help me get a sense of the markets prior to the market open. So every day, what I start off my day by doing is looking at futures, looking at different sectors, and looking at the index products themselves to see what's strong, what's weak, what happened in the prior sessions, what happened in the overnight sessions, sort of get a sense of the markets and where to look out for market directionality change or kind of areas of interest that may be harder to find if you're not ready for them prior to the open. What I liked about today's session is we had sort of an extension of the tech products, most notably in the NASDAQ. We also had a really strong open in the emerging markets. So the combination of tech and emerging market strength, I was kind of looking for something that played against both of those. And if we scroll down to the bottom, we have my top three stocks that I wanted to watch today. You'll notice that I have TSM, which is a strong semiconductor stock, and an emerging market combo. That one actually did trade very well today, albeit somewhat low volume in general. We had Dominion, which had the catalyst news of Berkshire purchasing some of their assets. However, the pre-market trend showed that although energy was a strong sector this morning, with natural gas and oil being somewhat strong in the futures, Dominion seemed to want to trade against that sort of trend. So I had kind of notated that although energy was strong, this was kind of a short idea, and that one actually ended up playing out very well. But the stock that I chose to trade was BABA, sort of a similar China slash emerging market play with a very strong tech presence. I also really like the technicals on BABA. We were clearing all-time highs. We had a nice consolidation pre-market, and then I started to see some volume start to pick up around the 30-minute mark before the market opened. So, switching over to the charts, you can see BABA started to ramp up last Thursday, and then we had a huge gap up, clearing the prior pivot high and clearing all-time high resistance, which was noted back here. For BABA, I was looking either for a gap and then a retest of support into a move higher, or given the strength of the gap, maybe just a gap and go. And what I saw in the pre-market was we had that consolidation around 232 to 233. We broke 233 and then we pulled right back into a nice area to consider with the moving averages starting to trend higher. On the 1 minute, as the market opened, we had our first 3 minutes, and this bar was a nice volume anomaly bar where not only did we break VWAP, but we also cleared any sort of pre-market high. I decided to start building a position at 233.90, stop loss 232.90, which was around the low of the morning session. And then we pulled a little bit farther back and started to come back up where I got my full position 233.70. So my average was 233.80, stop loss 233.30, 50-cent stop loss. I was able to partial into 234.50 area, coming into that prior pivot high. Very small partial, and then 234.80, I took a very large partial as it was my 2R target for the trade. I had basically risked the 1 to get the 2R, and I wanted to lock in a lot of profits at this target. We extended much higher. I wanted to get a partial at 235.80. It actually came right up to that price and then pulled away, so I couldn't really lock in the limit order that I had sitting here. It curled, came back to test that area. I had moved my limit order to 236. When I saw that this doji was forming, I went ahead and took another small partial. And then at that point, my position was pretty small. I had about 10% left. So I waited for a pullback. And at VWAP, I noticed that we had this low, sort of a higher low on this large red bar, and then an engulfing. I like to see these signals at VWAP to show where the strength is. And it also gives me an idea of where to put my stop. So I went ahead and re-entered 234.90, stop loss 234.40. So about, once again, another 50-cent stop loss. Was able to partial into 235.75, I believe, and then another one into 236. This was a much heavier partial, as it was the 2R target that I normally shoot for. We had another partial 236.50 area. I think this was not a limit order, it was just a market sell. And then 237, another limit order, very small position once again. I was willing to hold this position till end of day, but I started to see sort of this choppy action, and I went ahead and exited my full rest of the position at 237 on the second partial. BABA ended up actually being very strong throughout the entire day. One of my weaknesses is not holding my final position till end of day or just until my stop loss is hit. So although I did get a great trade, you can see that BABA really never pulled back very hard and ever actually came to test even my second entry. The low of this candle here being 236.66. So weakness of mine, not holding that last position for sort of the optimal all-day trend, but overall 2 great trades, locked in about 5.5 R of profit. Usually about 2.5 R is my average for a profitable trade. And BABA continues to be strong. Even in the aftermarket, we can see 243 was actually hit at one point. So showing some of those other items, TSM, once again, really strong semiconductor. Could have pretty much entered on a break of pre-market levels and ridden this trend higher to about 62. Which, was one of my playbook trades at the time. And Dominion, you can see a lot of energy candidates ended up being pretty strong green candidates. Oxy being up about 3%, Schlumberger 4.3%. But Dominion, with that catalyst, actually sold off pretty heavily. And it was due to this pre-market sort of gap up all the way to around 89. 89, and then selling off completely in pre-market, a little push into the market open, and then just a complete fade with increasing volume into these lows around 73.50. So today was one of those days where if you do your work in the pre-market, if you join the Bear Bull Traders pre-market show, you can get some great candidates. You can combine other information about strong emerging markets, strong China markets, strong tech, and have that turn into what is essentially a all stars are aligned sort of trade like I found in BABA. So that is my trade recap for July 6, 2020. As always, feel free to leave me questions, comments, or just general feedback about the trade ideas and how you might have looked at the markets differently or how you might have looked at the markets the same. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.